Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's CalFX here, back with another Forex market outlook video, right? So in today's video, we will look at some of the promising moves for the week ahead. And we will actually mainly look at Forex today. I'm not going to look at US-30 because, the price action is not the way I wished it was. So I'm still trying to work on it. But today we will just stick just with 4 FX pairs, and we'll look at 6 pairs actually. So let's start with EUR-USD real quick, right? So let's start from the weekly time frame. So I really recommend to always, when you do your outlooks, right, on any pair that you love to trade, make sure you start from the weekly. Even if you're an intraday trader, always make sure you start from the weekly because you get to have a bigger picture. Sometimes I see a lot, and I actually make a specific video on how to filter complexities using hard time frames. It will come very soon. So always make sure you start from a high time frame like the weekly, right? So if you look at what's going on right here on EUR-USD, we can see that price actually came to this supply zone right here, right? Price tapped the supply zone. You can see the strong reaction it came. As soon as it tapped, we had this huge rejection of higher prices. So this may be a sign that the bullish sentiment, once it tapped this price level, the bullish sentiment depleted. So we had strong bears coming into the market and push price to the downside, right? Because when you look at this week right here, this rejection, we as retail traders, we don't have enough money to cause this reaction, right? So this just shows that this supply zone was actually very significant. This actually refined to the daily, but you can just mark this one right here, all of this as the order block. That's absolutely totally fine, right? So it's very important to be able to look at this scenario right here because this says something for what's going to happen on the lower time frame. So we have the weekly, right? On the weekly, we have a strong rejection of higher prices on price taper supply. So we drop down to the daily time frame. So if we look at the daily time frame, we pretty much just had that daily bullish pullback, right? Of if you look at it from the weekly, pretty much this was just the pullback. So we have this bullish order flow on the daily. It's still intact, right? Because if price taps this order block, I still won't consider this structure to be bearish already, right? In order for price to be bearish, I would need to see price taking out this daily low, and then we can think about long-term sales, right? Also, when you come to the weekly, we can see something. It's a concept that I really like to, I talk a lot about on the mentorship, right? And it's about void filling, right? It's something that, when you have this, usually we need to see price doing a pullback. Also, we have so much imbalances below. So it's more likely that we may see price actually started to push down, right? Maybe to this zone, and then we have price continue towards the upside, right? Because it has to fill the void. So I'll make a specific video on that. It's very, very, very important, especially on lower time frames, very important. So if we drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that overall the structure is still bullish, right? And price just had this strong bearish reaction. So I had 2 POIs, which was this one at the extreme. It's very hidden. So, a lot of people may not understand why I chose this POI, but it's a concept that I also talk on the course, which is the difference between decisional order blocks and extreme order blocks. Very, very important. So, for example, if I come to the 4 hour, for example, just to give you guys the drill, you can see that we had this less bearish candle before the up move. So this was the decisional sell before the buy that went on to break this previous high. That's why it had this quite significant reaction. Price tapped and pulled back. But now we can see that this zone wasn't as significant as the extreme because we can see that this was the zone where the majority of these banks and financial institutions order were stacked. So that's why we saw this huge momentum to the upside. That's why the price actually just took this previous low, which was the reaction at this decisional order block, right? So here we are on the 4 hour. Price tapped this zone, which was a daily. So what I was expecting actually is to see price actually going up after we had this change of character right here, right? Price then pulled back to create some sort of mitigation of this order block. Then we had the second break of structure, but we can see that the second OB didn't hold and price just took out this previous low. So that we can just see right here why price wants to come to this decision extreme order block, right? So very important. So price just gave us this change break of structure right here on the 4 hour. So we can see that we have this wick right here, which is a POI. I mean, some people may not understand why I'm choosing this right here as a POI, because some people say, okay, but I'm seeing this less up candle before the down move. But it's very important to consider what order block is. Is the last sell, for example, in this scenario, it will be the last buy before the sell, right? So in this week, you can see that the candle was all the way up here, but then the sellers came, pushed the candle down to break this previous low. So this technical was the last point of sellers, of buyers exhaustion before sellers came in, pushed the price down. So we're more likely to see price then pulling back to this point before it comes down, or it will just come down to this POI, right? So if you want to see why I chose this as the POI, let's drop down to 1 hour. You will see that there is a blue candle right here, right? This one right here. This is just a hidden order block. On the 4 hour, it was a hidden order block, but we can see the order block on the hourly time frame, right? So just very powerful concepts that, I mean, I hope you guys are taking notes on this one. And so my outlook actually is to see that if price will pull back all the way to this POI, so I'll look for sales on lower time frames all the way down to the daily, or we may just see price coming straight down to this daily order block. So I will need to see a 4 hour change of character, so then I can be bullish, right? So that's it for EUR-USD. Let's move to another pair. So here we are on Aussie dollar, right? So Aussie dollar, if I drop quickly to monthly time frame, right, just to get the picture, right, just so we can get a clear picture of what's going on. If you look at the month from the monthly time frame, the question would be, what is the structure right here? Is it bullish or bearish? I think it's quite easily to say that it's bearish, right? Because we had this swing low, swing high, and then price create this swing low. Price then came to the extreme right here, this extreme order block, right? Had a nice reaction. So we can see that the supply actually held, and then we expect to see this low being taken to continue that bearish order flow towards the downside, right? So that's the outlook on the monthly. So we drop down to the weekly time frame. We can see that price actually tapped this order block right here, which was a not very significant order block, but we had a reaction here. And if we look at the weekly right here, we can even see that on the weekly structure is heavily bearish, right? We can just read the structure right here. We can see price just broke structure to the downside. Now price came into this extreme supply zone sitting above. Pretty much now we can see that this previous high was used as inducement. Price just grabbed that high, reacted to this unmitigated supply zone. That's why we're seeing this strong reaction down, right? But very important, let's drop down to the daily time frame. So when we come to the daily, what we can see that the structure is still overall bullish. So for me to be bearish, or I mean, on the long term, I need to see price actually taking out this swing low right here, right? I need to see price taking out this swing low, breaking, and then that's when I'm going to be bearish long term, right? On the lower time frame, yes, I can sell. It would just be probably a 4 hour pullback or M15 pullback. But right here, we can see that even on this low, some people may say that, oh, this was the high, this was the low that created that high. Okay, but we can see that price failed to close below that previous low. So there is still some sort of bullish pressure in, because we can see that the sellers failed to close below. So the bearish sentiment depleted at that moment. Then the buyers came in with this strong engulfing candle right here. So if we drop down to 4 hour, right, real quick, we can see that on the 4 hour we had that change of character. Price then came back. I mean, yeah, we had this break. Price came back to mitigate the order block, and then we had the second break. So price is coming to this extreme. I think this was on the hourly. Let me just use 1 hour. Yeah, this one right here, right? This is what we call the last point of sellers exhaustion before buyers came in, pushed price up. So this is an extreme order block right here. So price is still reacting at this zone. So I'm still expecting, I'm still expecting to see price actually continue towards the upside to break the previous high, or we will see if price action will come all the way down to give us that daily change of character, right? Because the weekly supply is still holding. So, but on the 4 hour, right, the daily is still bullish, 4 hour is still bullish. So far, my outlook is still bullish, right? So I will still wait on the, when the week starts, I will be monitoring price action on 30 minutes to see if we have that break of structure to the upside, so we can continue the hourly bullish order flow, right? Let's move to another pair. So GU, we can look at the weekly time frame, and GU is quite interesting, right? I mean, because price just came to this supply zone, right? And we can see that, I mean, there was a multiple attempt because we had the first tap at this supply. So we can see that it was still holding. Price then came back and it's still holding. We can see this huge bearish pressure right here, right? So we can see that, I mean, buyers are struggling to break above this previous weekly high. So if you drop down to the daily time frame, we can see that, okay, we had this nice bullish order flow, then price came right here even and almost took the previous high, but it just engineered some sort of liquidity. We can consider this to be double tops, right? Yeah, double tops. But price came to this demand zone right here, right? We can see this black candle that broke the previous structure right here. And I mean, if we come down to 4 hour, you know, I had refined this point of interest to this one right here, to this zone, because I wanted to see some reaction at this order block right here. So all of this is just imbalances. That's why price actually came to fill the imbalance. Now, what I even sent on the group on Friday, right? Even on the public group, I sent this POI right here because I was expecting to see some reaction here. So price actually came into this point of interest. And if I come down to 2 hours time frame, we can see that we had this break of structure, mitigation, second break. So we had this POI sitting below right here. And then price came all the way down and started to push the downside. So price, I mean, it's still the overall on the hourly is still bullish right here, right? We have this bullish structure right here, right? And what I'm expecting is, I mean, I'm seeing this huge bearish pressure. So there is a possibility that this zone may not hold. Price may just come all the way down to this, to the extremities of that daily order block, right? So that's the outlook that I'll be waiting for. I mean, that's what I'll be waiting for next week to see if this demand will hold or it will break to come to this daily POI below, right? So let's move to another pair. So New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar has been, I mean, I really haven't traded this pair because, I mean, I really love, that's one of my favorite pairs, but the spreads really don't, I mean, are really not attractive to me. But, you know, Aussie dollar, what happened is that it's the same thing that we saw with, I think, Aussie dollar, right? Because we had the same weekly structure, right? Which is bearish. And price just used this previous high as an inducement because this order block right here wasn't mitigated once it was broken here, right? When we had the break, price just pulled back, didn't come all the way up and just broke structure. So we've seen that this high was used as inducement for price to come. Now, if we look at what's going on right here, is the same thing as I always talk about when it comes to bullish sentiment in the market depleting. We can see that price, we had this break all the way to the upside, then price came all the way down. So we can see that the void was filled right here, right? We had that triangle, which is very important. Then we had price continue to the upside, but then we had the first attempt for price to break the high, it failed. Then the second one, then the third one right here. So we can see that the bullish sentiment in the market at this particular moment was depleting. That's why we had this huge sell momentum, right? So this was the banks and financial institutions involved at this particular time. So price just came to this point of interest right here, which is a daily, right? So this daily, because this daily failed to close above, I mean, it violated the previous high, but it failed to close above. So I'm still trying to see if this demand will hold, right? Because price is still reacting to this order block. So if I drop down to 4 hour time frame, we can see that, okay, price had created this high, right? So we can see that this was the change of character, right? So price broke structure. It came back, mitigated right here, right? So we can see that, okay, this was the mitigation line. And then it created a second break of structure right here. So, okay, when we look at it, the structure on the 4 hour is still bullish, right? So this is very, very, very important right here, right? The structure is still bullish. So once price comes to my 4 hour order block, what I usually like to look for is for M15 change of character, because when it's a 4 hour and you drop down to 1 minute, I mean, the price action is going to be, it's not a good confirmation for an hourly structure, right? I think 1 minute we can drop down when it's M15 or M30, right? But when it comes to 4 hour, I like to wait for M15 or at least 20 minutes change of character, right? So we can be bullish. So let me just go to 20 minutes. I think it's much cleaner. So if I look at the price action here from a swing structure perspective, we can see that we had this low, we had this high, and then price created this low. And then we have this high and price is failing to create a low, but the structure right here is still bearish. So I would need to see price taking out this previous high. So then I can buy all the way up, right? So that's it for New Zealand dollar. Let's move to another pair. Here we are on USD-CAD, and we can look at it from the daily time frame, right? We can see this beautiful mitigation play right here. I mean, this beautiful bullish order flow all the way to this monthly supply zone. Real quick, just for you guys to see, we had a monthly change of character right here. So this was the extreme supply zone. Price tapped right there. So we dropped down to the daily time frame. We can see the price created this daily change of character. It came all the way up, so it mitigated the change of character. So now our expectation is to see price to take out this low right here, this daily low, to come all the way down to this order block right here. So that's the idea, right, from the daily. Very correct. So let's just drop down to the hourly to see what's going on, right? So we come to the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, what I was seeing is that, okay, we had this break of structure, price came back, mitigated, then it created the second break, it mitigated, created another break. So we can see that on the 4 hour, the structure is heavily bearish. Now, price comes to our 4 hour. What I like to do is drop down to M30, right? Or even 1 hour, right? It can be valid, right? So on the 1 hour, we can see that we had this structure high, we had the structure low, price then created this high. And we can see the multiple attempts right here, reaction to the demand zone, price then pulled back, failed to create a new high, broke structure. So we have an order block. We can see the price came here, almost was about to take that low, came up and finally took out that low, right? So we can see that even on the 1 hour M30, the price is still bearish. So pretty much everything is lining up, right? The daily is bearish. We had that change of character on the daily, mitigation of the daily change of character POI. So 4 hour is heavily bearish. So right here on the hourly 30 minutes, we can see that price now just took out this previous low and is very bearish, right? So if I come to 2 hours time frame, for example, I can see that we have this blue candle right here, which can be a nice order block to trade from, right? I mean, prices, there's a possibility that price may come all the way up here and then continue to drop, or we may just see price coming to at least 50% of this range, high and low, right? We may see a reaction here, and then price continues to the downside all the way to our point of interest. So just the key takeaway here is to understand that the daily, we had the daily change of character. So then we had the daily choke POI. Price came there, reacted, and started to push to the downside. So we can see that on the 4 hour, we can see that bearish order flow towards this daily point of interest sitting below, right? So we can see that everything is lining up, right? So USD-CAD is bearish, so I would recommend to at least at 50% of this range to look for sales on M15 once you have a change of character, right? So let's move to the last pair, and that's UJ. Now, UJ, I think it's great if we start from the weekly time frame, right? I mean, UJ was heavily bullish. I mean, the whole 2022, UJ was just pushing to the upside nonstop, right? So we had this break of structure right here. Then what happened? We had a break. Price had a successful retrace right here, but we have this order block right here, which was left unmitigated, and price ended up breaking structure again right here, right? So what happens is that this low was used as inducement, because that's what happens most of the times. When you have a break of structure, that means you have an order block. Price may pull back a little bit and create another break, because they know that so many people will buy on this second one, and then that's when they come here and push towards the upside. So This actually I talked on the previous video on the liquidity versus inducement, so I really recommend you guys to watch. I'll pop the link of the video right here. Very, very important. So price actually just came to this extreme order block sitting below. So now when the price comes to my weekly order blocks, I like to wait for daily change of character. So let me just drop down to daily. So on the daily time frame, if we look at the price action, what's the first take that you have is that price is still heavily bearish, right? We had this low, high, it created this low, then we have this high, then this low, then this high, and then we have this low. So right here, we have two order blocks, right? We have this one, which was the decision that finally took out this low, right? And we have this one right here at the extreme. We can see that the last candle week was higher than the previous one. So this is a liquidation candle. And then went on to start that was the catalyst move that went on to take the low, right? So we still have two POIs right here. Price actually came to the first one and we had this nice reaction, right? So the daily is heavily bearish right here. So let me just drop down to 4 hour. If we come to 4 hour, right, we can see the price, okay, had this internal break of structure to the upside all the way to our daily order block. Supply zone, right? And then we had this strong reaction down, right? And we have this order block sitting below. Now, what happened is that if you look at the price action right here, is that we had this high, price pulled back, and then broke that previous high, created this high. So we can see the price broke structure right here, right? So if I use this line, we can see that this was the order block right here. So this was the break of structure. Now price came to this supply zone right here. Very, very, very clean supply zone. That's why we had this reaction right here all the way down, right? So price still failed to close below that previous low. So I'm still expecting to see UJ either coming towards this point of interest, and then we may have a push to the upside, or we may see price actually coming all the way to this second extreme supply zone, and then we may see price coming all the way to the downside, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed the outlook. If you guys, I mean, feel free to join my free Telegram group. If you guys are interested in joining us, and we're actually just about to move to Discord. So the full CalFX full course is already done, right? So if you would love to join the mentorship, feel free to let me know. My contact is on the description of the free Telegram group. And I see you guys next time.